bless you and keep you, and make his face shine upon. May he be gracious to you and turn his face toward you, and bring you peace. Modern Mind, Ancient Book.
Presented by Modern Mind, Ancient Book. We are going back to move forward. We're finding a love for the law, the prophets, and the writings so that we can know Jesus more. Today, we're turning to the Song of Songs again, and we're going to follow the poetry from a nighttime search to a royal wedding procession to a close portrait of a beloved woman, and then finally into a fragrant garden. Along the way, we'll ask one question. What makes desire honoring rather than possessive? We will learn why the song places searching, safety, public honor, attentive praise, and mutual invitation in one poetic movement. And we will experience the movement the way the poem gives it to us. The empty bed, the city streets, the rising column of smoke, the strange and beautiful comparisons, the protected garden, the invitation, and the answer. This episode discusses the Bible's poetic celebration of marital desire and the human body. The language will remain respectful, non-graphic, and faithful to the text. And when we reach the garden, list especially for who opens it. Because the memory we are carrying through this episode is simple. The garden opens by invitation. How do goats, shields, pomegranates, gazelles, spices, and locked garden become a love poem? If someone compares your hair to a flock of goats, would you hear praise? If someone compares your neck to a fortified tower covered with 1,000 shields, would you feel cherished, or would you wonder what had gone wrong? The images in Song of Songs can sound strange to the modern ears, and strange images create a temptation. We may laugh at them, we may rush past them, or we may reduce every image to a coded reference to the body and turn poetry into a diagram. The song asks us to do something better. It asks us to learn how praise works inside another world. It asks us to hear the emotional force of the images before we demand a literal photograph. It asks us to notice that the person being praised is not silent. She's already spoken. She's already desired. She has already searched. And before this movement ends, she will be the one who gives the invitation. That matters because healthy intimacy is not a possession. It is a movement of seeking safety, attentive praise, and mutual invitation. Last time we opened the song and heard a woman speak desire without surrendering her dignity. We heard praise answered with praise. We watched spring arrive, and we heard the refrain that love must not be forced awake before the time is right. The first session ended with mutual belonging. My beloved is mine, and I am his. But the song did not give us a settled ending. It gave us distance, movement, longing, and another turn. Now at the beginning of chapter 3, the beloved is absent, the woman is searching, and the poetry is about to move from the privacy of the night into the public spectacle of a wedding. Before we follow it, we need one important reading rule. Song of Songs is lyric poetry. It has recurring voices, images, refrains, and movements. It has order, it has shape. But it does not give us a prose narrator who stops to explain exactly what every person or where every person is standing, how much time has passed, or whether every poem belongs to one continuous event. Some readers have built details, dramatic plots from the song. Some identify a courtship, a wedding, a separation, a reunion. Others see a collection of love poems joined through recurring language and final form design. We do not need to flatten any of those questions, and we don't need to solve them for the poem to speak. We will follow the order of Scripture as it's given to us. We will say what the text makes clear. We will leave open what the text leaves open. And we will let each other prepare the next. Modern Mind Ancient Book places Song of Songs in the Solomonic period as a conservative working judgment, approximately 960 to 931 years before Christ. That placement is debated, and our confidence is where it is. The book associates itself with Solomon, and this session names Solomon 3 times, but the presence of Solomon in one procession does not prove that he speaks every line assigned to a man. It does not settle the authorship of every poem, and it does not give us permission to turn every scene into an episode from Solomon's biography. Our governing order is to receive final form of the book. That means we do not move this session according to when we imagine the events happened. We move from chapter 3, verse 1, through chapter 5, verse 1, because that's the sequence Scripture has preserved. And the preserved sequence does something remarkable. It brings private longing, public celebration, personal praise, and intimate invitation close together. And the movement, it begins with absence. It widens into spectacle, it narrows into attention, and it ends with welcome. All of this belongs inside of the biblical doctrine of creation. Genesis does not introduce the human body as a mistake God later tolerates. Male and female humanity belong to God's good creation. The union of husband and wife belongs to the pattern established before human rebellion. The body can or was corrupted by sin. Desires become selfish. Power has become coercive. But sin does not get to redefine creation as evil. Song of Songs will not let us pretend the holiness requires contempt for the body. It's okay to have longing. It will also not let us pretend that bodily desire is holy merely because it is intense. You can't just do what you want. It has to be inside of a covenant relationship. The refrain about love's proper time remains in the poem. The protection around the garden remains in the poem. And the invitation, well, that remains there too. So we begin with creation and we listen for wisdom. Desire is good when it receives God's order. Praise is good when it honors rather than consumes. Union is good when it's faithful, mutual, and welcomed. That is the world we're entering. Listen to Song of Songs, chapter 3, beginning in verse 1. Oh, my bed at night, I sought the one I love. I sought him, but I did not find him. I will arise now and go about the city, through the streets and squares. I will seek the one I love. So I sought him, but did not find him. I encountered the watchmen on their rounds of the city. Have you seen the one I love? I had just passed them when I found the one I love. I held him and would not let go until I had brought him to my mother's house, to the chamber of the one who conceived me. O daughters of Jerusalem, I adjure you by the gazelles and does of the field, do not arouse or awaken love until the time is right. The first word we feel is absence. She is on her bed at night. The one she loves is not there. Then the poem gives us repetition. I sought him, but I did not find him. I will seek him. I sought him, but I did not find him. Longing does not stay abstract. It moves her. She rises, she goes through the city, she enters streets and squares, she meets the watchmen who make their rounds at night. Some readers hear this is a dream-like scene. The repeated searching, the sudden transitions, the movement from bed to city to finding can feel like a night vision. Others hear it as a narrative experience. The poem does not close the question, and we don't need to force it closed. Whether dreamlike or remembered, the emotional truth is clear. She knows what it is to reach for someone and find an empty space. She knows what it is to search while others are asleep. She knows what it is to ask people of authority in the city, have you seen the one I love? And we should not turn the night streets into romance. The watchman will return later in the song, and the later encounter will be violent. Even here, a woman moving through a night carries vulnerability. The poem lets longing and danger occupy the same world. Love may move us toward another person, but longing does not make risk imagery. Then the scene turns quickly. She passes the watchman and she finds him. She holds the one she loves. She will not let go until she's brought him to her mother's house, to the chamber of the women who conceived her. Notice the direction of the movement. She's not erased by desire. She acts, she seeks, she asks, she finds, she holds, she brings. The woman is not a decorative object waiting for the plot to happen around her. Her voice is driving the scene. And then at the moment when the poem might allow us to make intensity the highest value, the refrain turns. Do not arouse or awaken love until the time is right. The refrain appeared in chapter 2. It will appear again in chapter 8. It interrupts the moment without denying it. She has searched intensely. She found the one she loves. She's held them and refused to let go. And the poem then speaks about timing. That's wisdom. Finding someone does not mean that we own them. Wanting someone does not mean every moment is the right moment. Intensity does not cancel order. Relief does not cancel wisdom. Love cannot be made faithful by force. This is one of the song's greatest gifts. It can speak honestly about urgency without allowing urgency to become the authority. It's okay to wait. It's okay to wait until you're married. Just saying. The refrain does not tell us that desire is dirty. It tells us that desire needs truth, patience, and the fitting time. For some listeners, that is a needed correction because love has been treated as shameful. For others, it's a needed correction because longing has been treated as permission. The song refuses both errors. It lets her seek. It lets her find. It lets her hold. And it still says, do not force love awake before the time is right. Then the camera pulls back. The private night search gives way to something visible from a distance. Listen to Song of Songs, chapter 3, beginning in verse 6. Who is this coming up from the wilderness like a column of smoke, scented with myrrh and frankincense from all the spices of the merchant? Behold, it's Solomon's carriage, escorted by 60 of the mightiest men of Israel. All are skilled with the sword, experienced in warfare. Each has his sword on his side, prepared for the terror of the night. King Solomon has made his carriage out of the timbers of Lebanon. He has made its posts of silver, the base of gold, its seats of purple fabric. Its interior is inlaid with love by the daughters of Jerusalem. Come out, O daughters of Zion, and gaze at King Solomon, wearing the crown with which his mother crowned him on the day of the wedding, the day of his heart's rejoicing. The movement begins with the question, who is this? Something is arising from the wilderness like a column of smoke. The air carries myrrh, frankincense, and the spices of the merchants. Then the procession comes into focus. This is a carriage that belonged to Solomon. There are 60 mighty men. They are trained for war. Their swords are ready for the terror of the night. There is timber from Lebanon. There is silver. There's gold. There's purple fabric. There is work associated with the daughters of Jerusalem. There is a crown. There is a wedding day. And there is the rejoicing of a king's heart. This is a wedding procession, and it's poetry. It magnifies the dignity, security, public honor, and joy surrounding love. The Bible calls the conveyance a carriage. The rare word behind that translation is explained by Hebrew lexicons as a bridal, sedan, or a litter chair. Other English translations use a word like palanquin. The precise shape is less important than the force of the description. It's costly, it's guarded, it's public. This is meant to be seen. And yet the poem leaves questions open. It does not securely tell us who is riding in the conveyance. It names Solomon and his wedding day, but that does not prove that Solomon is the male lover in every poem. The speaker who asks, who is this, is not identified for us. The following description might come from observers, companions, or another poetic voice. We can say that the passage says, without building a plot of the passage, does not give us. And what it says is already powerful. Love is not only a private feeling. Marriage is not only a private arrangement. The procession places covenant joy in public view. The community can protect it and honor it. The community can rejoice without possessing what belongs to the couple. That last thing matters. The daughters of Zion are invited to come out and look. They witness, they celebrate, and they do not become the center of the union. Healthy community does not isolate love from every witness. A healthy community does not consume a couple's intimacy as public property. It honors what God joins. It provides safety. It rejoices. And it respects the boundary around the union. The armed escort also creates a link with the previous scene. The women search the city at night. Here the men carry swords because the terrors of the night. The poem does not pretend that celebration removes danger from the world. It imagines honor with protection, joy and vigilance. It imagines beauty surrounded by strength and serves rather than seizes. And then, after all the smoke, fragrance, weapons, timber, metal, fabric, crown, and public rejoicing, the poem narrows again. The procession has shown us how love can be honored from a distance. Now the man will show us how one beloved person can be seen up close. Listen now to the Song of Songs, chapter 4, beginning in verse 1. How beautiful are you, my darling? How very beautiful. Your eyes are like doves behind your veil. Your hair is like a flock of goats streaming down Mount Gilead. Your teeth are like a flock of newly shorn sheep coming up from washing. Each has its twin, and not one of them is lost. Your lips are like a scarlet ribbon, and your mouth is lovely. Your brow behind your veil is like a slice of pomegranate. Your neck is like the Tower of David, built with rows of stones. On it hang 1,000 shields, all of them shields of warriors. Your breasts are like 2 fawns, twins of a gazelle grazing among the lilies. Before the day breaks and the shadows flee, I will make my way to the mountain of myrrh and to the hill of frankincense. You are altogether beautiful, my darling. In you there's no flaw. The poem has moved from the spectacle of a possession to the attention of one person. The public crowd could see smoke, soldiers, gold, purple, and a crown. The lover sees her. And he does not only say you're beautiful, he stays with that thought. He gives attention. He moves from image to image until the separate comparisons gather into a whole. The kind of ordered praises that often been compared with the descriptive love poetry from the wider ancient world. The technical label is less important than the practice. The speaker looks carefully, speaks patiently, and builds delight through comparison. He begins with your eyes. Doves can carry gentleness, liveliness, beauty, and quick movement. They veil partly conceals the eyes, so the image does not turn her into something exposed for public inspection. He's attentive to what he can see, into the mystery that remains. Then her hair becomes a flock of goats streaming down Mount Gilead. If we freeze the line and imagine a goat sitting on someone's head, we'll miss the poem. The image, it's about movement. Picture a dark flock pouring down a distant slope. The animals move together. The line is alive. The hillside seems to flow. The comparison lets her carry abundance, motion, texture, beauty. Her teeth are compared to shorn sheep coming up from washing with its twin and none missing. Again, the image works as a whole. Cleanliness, brightness, order, symmetry, completeness. The poem's not asking us to perform an anatomical inspection. It is creating an impression of healthy, ordered beauty. Her lips are scarlet ribbon. Her mouth is lovely. Her brow behind the veil is like a slice of pomegranate. Color gathers in these lines. Scarlet, the rich interior of a pomegranate. The images are vivid, cultivated, and alive. Then comes the tower. Your neck is like the Tower of David. The tower is built with rows of stone, and 1,000 shields hang upon it. We should not hear this is an insult about size. The neck carries the head. It affects bearing and posture. A tower communicates dignity, strength, elevation, security. The shields add honor and the visible sign of strength. He does not praise her as fragile. There's tenderness in the poem, but there's strength too. Then he praises her breasts as 2 fawns, twins of a gazelle grazing among the lilies. The poetry is erotic, but we don't need to deny that. And because it's poetry, we do not need to make it graphic. The fawns carry tenderness, symmetry, life, gentle movement. The lilies keep the image inside the natural world. The song has been building from its opening chapters. Just think Genesis. I think this is all about the perfection of having love that God gave. Scripture is not embarrassed to name the body. And Scripture does not require us to become crude in order to be honest. Those two truths, they belong together. Then the language of myrrh and frankincense returns. The same fragrance that surrounded the public procession now enters personal praise. And the sequence lands here. You are altogether beautiful, my darling. In you there is no flaw. Altogether beautiful. That's the direction of the poem. The separate feature has not become separate commodities. They have gathered into delight in one person. He does not end by saying your eyes are useful to me, or your body proves my status, or your beauty gives me a right to you. He ends with wonder. You are altogether beautiful. Attentive praise is different from appraisal. Appraisal asks, how does this person measure against my private standard? Attentive praise asks, what beauty is actually here, and how can I honor it truthfully? Appraisal reduces, praise gathers, appraisal consumes, praise attends. Appraisal makes the speaker judge, praise makes room for gratitude. That word does not mean every flattering sentence is righteous. Words can manipulate. Compliments can be used to purchase access, hide selfishness, or create obligation. The song's praise belongs inside a larger movement that includes timing, protection, mutual speech, and invitation. The question isn't just whether our words sound beautiful. The question is where our words honor the person who hears them. Do my words make another person feel fully seen? Do they honor strength as well as tenderness? Do they gather the person into dignity or divide into features for my consumption? Do they tell the truth? Do they leave the other person free? This is not only a lesson for husband and wives. Every community learns a way of speaking about bodies. We can speak with contempt. We can rank people by appearance. We can joke about age, size, skin, disability, scars, fertility, piercings, tattoos, or features that someone can't change. We can praise in a way that makes a person feel watched rather than known, or we can learn disciplined attention. The song does not command us to copy its comparisons word for word. It teaches us to see. It teaches us to slow down. It teaches us that embodied praise can be joyful without becoming degrading. And it prepares us for the next movement, because praise is not the same thing as permission. The speaker can describe the garden, only the woman can open it. The praise continues, but the landscape changes. Listen to Song of Songs, chapter 4, beginning in verse 8. Come with me from Lebanon, my bride. Come with me from Lebanon. Descend from the peaks of Amana, from the summits of Senir and Hermon, from the dens of the lions, from the mountains of the leopards. You have captured my heart, my sister, my bride. You have stolen my heart with one glance of your eyes, with one jewel of your neck. How delightful is your love, my sister, my bride. Your love is much better than wine, and the fragrance of your perfume than spices. Your lips, my bride, drip sweetness like the honeycomb. Honey and milk are under your tongue, and the fragrance of your garments is like the aroma of Lebanon. My sister, my bride, you are a garden locked up, a spring enclosed, a fountain sealed. Your branches are an orchard of pomegranates with the choicest of fruit, with henna and nard. With nard and saffron, with calamus and cinnamon, with every kind of frankincense tree, with myrrh and aloes, with all the finest spices. You are a garden spring, a well of fresh water flowing from Lebanon. The man calls her my sister, my bride. To modern ears, the first part can sound alarming. It is not a biological sibling claim. It's a figurative love language from the ancient world. The phrase joins closeness with covenant address. He speaks to one who is dear, near, and now named as a bride. The landscape is large. Lebanon, Amana, Senir, Hermon, lions, and leopards. The invitation comes from dangerous heights towards the presence, or toward the presence. Come with me. Then the language begins personal again. One glance captures his heart. One jewel holds his attention. Her love is better than wine. Her speech carries honey and milk. Her fragrance recalls Lebanon. Then she becomes a garden, not a wild field without boundary, a cultivated garden, a garden locked up. Anybody here in Genesis in this? A spring enclosed, a fountain sealed. The image carries erotic meaning as well, but it's richer than a single code. A garden is ordered life. It's protected abundance. It's beauty that has been cultivated rather than trampled. It contains fruit, fragrance, water, and delight. And because it has a boundary, entry is not assumed. The locked garden is not worthless because it's closed. The boundary is part of its dignity. The spring is not defective because it is closed. You hear that, guys? Protection does not deny fruitfulness. It guards what's living. The poem names pomegranates, henna, nard, saffron, calamus, cinnamon, frankincense, myrrh, aloes, and the finest spices. The list is extravagant. It brings and local abundances and costly goods all into one thing. It's associated with trade, distance, and rarity. The garden's not empty restraint. It's full. It's alive. It's fragrant. It's watered. It's full of good fruit. This is one reason why biblical boundaries must be taught as though God must not be taught as though God merely fears pleasure. God's order protects what is created good. The boundary exists because the garden matters. The song's positive vision of marital intimacy stands inside God's creation pattern. Husband and wife are joined in one covenant. Fruitfulness belongs to the governing created design. The song celebrates the delight, exclusivity, and welcome of that union without turning poetry into a manual of techniques. And now the decision and the decisive turn arrives. The man has praised the garden. He has called it locked, enclosed, and sealed. He has not announced that praise gives him a key. The woman speaks. Listen to the exchange again with the speakers made clear. The woman says, "Awake, O north wind, and come, O south wind. Breathe on my garden and spread the fragrance of its spices. Let my beloved come into the garden and taste its choicest fruits." The man answers, "I have come to my garden, my sister, my bride. I have gathered my myrrh with my spice. I have eaten my honeycomb with my honey. I have drunk my wine with my milk." And then a final plural voice, likely companions of the poetic, say, "Eat, O friends, and drink. Drink freely, O beloved." That's the outside voice. Taken together, Song of Songs, chapter 5, verse 1 reads, "I have come to my garden, my sister, my bride. I have gathered my myrrh with my spice. I have eaten my honeycomb with my honey. I have drunk my wine with my milk. Oh, eat, O friends, and drink freely, O beloved." That's garden language all the way. The garden opens by invitation. That is the center of the movement. Her desire is not implied by someone else. She speaks it. Her welcome is not manufactured from his praise. She gives it. The man does not answer an imagined invitation. He answers the one she voiced. This is why the song's mutuality matters. The woman desired in chapter 1. She searched in chapter 3. She invites in chapter 4. Her agency is not a modern correction imposed on an ancient book. It's in the text. And the man's response matters. He comes, he receives, he names her again as bride. The passage's final voice does not sound like a secret shame. It sounds like celebration. "Eat, O friends, and drink freely, O beloved." The exact speaker is not certain. The plural commands make a companion or narrator level voice likely. I think it's the entrance of an outside voice that points us back to Genesis. The function is clear, though. The poem approves the joy it has brought to completion in a marriage. This does not make every desire good. It does not make every relationship faithful. It does not erase wisdom, covenant, and the refrain about love's proper time. It shows what welcome delight can look like when it belongs within the poem's ordered world. Creation is not the enemy of holiness. The body is not the enemy of holiness. Marital delight is not the enemy of holiness. Not walking in God's ways is the enemy. Coercion is the enemy. Deception is the enemy. Possession that denies personhood, that's the enemy. God's created pattern does not need to be watered down because some listeners find it difficult. And it does not need to be weaponized against people whose circumstances, wounds, singleness, infertility, age, or calling differ. The pattern remains the pattern. Pastoral care tells the truth with compassion. It does not reverse what God has made. The song allows marital desire to be joyful, embodied, exclusive, protected, and mutual. The garden opens by invitation. How does this human love poem help us know Jesus? Not by pretending that the woman is never a woman, not by pretending that the man is never a man, not by assigning a hidden spiritual meaning to every goat, shield, breast, spice, mountain, fruit. We begin where the Bible begins, creation. Genesis chapter 2 presents marriage as God's design before human rebellion. A man leaves father and mother, is joined to his wife, and the two become one flesh. Embodied union is not an embarrassing concession after sin. It belongs to God's creation and the good order. Song of Songs sings within that world. Then, the wider Bible uses marriage and wedding language to speak about covenant relationships. The prophets can describe God as husband to his people. They can use marital faithfulness and betrayal to expose covenant love and covenant sin. These prophetic images do not erase human marriage. They rely on its created meaning. Then Jesus enters the story and uses bridegroom language about himself. In Matthew chapter 9, verse 15, Jesus asks whether the guests of the bridegroom can mourn while the kingdom is with them. He places his presence inside the joy and expectation of a wedding. In John chapter 3, verse 29, John the Baptist describes himself as the friend of the bridegroom who stands, listens, and rejoices at the bridegroom's voice. That sounds remarkably close to the final movement we have just heard. A joy that can be witnessed and celebrated without being possessed by the witnesses. Paul then returns to Genesis. In Ephesians chapter 5, he quotes the one flesh language and speaks of a great mystery concerning Messiah and his assembly. And he does not use that mystery to excuse domination. The controlling pattern in Messiah's self-giving love. That is the controlling pattern. He loves his people faithfully. He gives himself. He cleanses. He nourishes, he cherishes. He does not consume the bride for selfish gain. He gives himself for her good. And then finally, Revelation carries the wedding motif toward the renewal of all things. Revelation chapter 19 announces the marriage of the Lamb and the readiness of his bride. It speaks of the wedding supper of the Lamb. Revelation chapter 21 shows the holy city prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. Then the angel says, "Come, I will show you the bride, the wife of the Lamb." The canon moves from created marriage through covenant imagery to Jesus, the bridegroom, Messiah's self-giving love, and the wedding joy of new creation. Song of Songs belongs inside that canon. Its first meaning remains human love poetry. And because human covenant love belongs to God's creation, it can become part of the Bible's larger language for faithful love, joy, belonging, and union. The connection to Jesus is not a secret code hidden beneath the poem. It's a canonical road built through creation, covenant, bridegroom, sacrifice, and wedding joy. And Jesus reveals that faithful love, what faithful love finally looks like. It's truthful, it's self-giving, it honors the beloved. It does not confuse power with entitlement. It keeps covenant, prepares joy. It gives life. The movement of the song has given us 4 verbs: seek, honor, praise, invite. The woman seeks the one who loves through the night. Her longing is honest, but finding does not erase the wisdom of timing. The royal procession honors wedding joy in the public. It surrounds celebration with beauty, strength, witnesses, and protection. The man praises the woman with patient attention. He imagines images that are unfamiliar to us, but their movement's clear. He sees vitality, order, strength, tenderness, abundance, and beauty until the separate features gather into one person and one declaration. You are altogether beautiful. Then the poem enters the garden. The garden is alive, fruitful, fragrant, watered, cultivated, protected, but closed. The man describes it. The woman, she opens it. The garden opens by invitation. This is what makes desire honoring rather than possessive. Desire does not deny the personhood of the beloved. It does not treat intensity with permission. It does not mock the body or worship it. It seeks truth. It welcomes protection. It learns to praise without consuming, and it receives an invitation rather than inventing one. Some listeners need permission to stop speaking about the body with contempt. Some need to stop using praise as manipulation. Some need to remember that a boundary is not an insult, and some need to learn that strong desire and faithful restraint can exist in the same person. Some husbands and wives need to recover words of attentive delight, not generic flattery, not comparisons with someone else, not pressure disguised as affection. Truthful words that let the person they love know, I see you, I honor you, I receive you as a person, not a possession. And every follower of Jesus needs the larger lesson. Faithful love is shaped by the one who gives himself for the good of his people. Jesus is not revealed by erasing the human love poem. He's revealed as the biblical story carries creation and covenant toward the bridegroom, the lamb, and the wedding feast. Next time, the song begins again with absence. But the search in chapter 5 will not unfold like the search in chapter 3. The door, the city, and the watchman will carry the poem into danger, grief, and questions of how love endures when presence cannot be controlled. Until then, remember, the garden opens by invitation. Thank you for joining us. Please follow Modern Mind, Ancient Book and share this teaching with the people you love. Find the way. Meet Rabbi Jesus. Walk the way. Modern Mind, Ancient Book.
May the Lord bless you and keep you and make his face shine upon. May he be gracious to you and turn his face toward you and bring